Yeah, I'm on a path, man, hitting the gas, ain't stopping for shit, I got vision, ho. I hit the dash, no salt on my ass, I had to go through it, now niggas know. Some made it bad, I made it way better, I looked at the cheddar and made some more. Ain't calling you back, the shit that you ask it really, you probably don't need to know. Fucking the on the thing that you needed to start the show, call me Keenan, I can't be a nigga, he threatened my etiquette, moving so elegant, like a mannequin, you and your mannequin, I got a panicking, can't go to war with a star, you ain't Anakin, smoking on Yoda, I put in the backwood, talking about buying the block like it's your hood, ayy. I spot a lie, my shit is on the galaxy, my shorty really an alien, head to a whole different planet whenever she fucking me. It's never too long, you know when I'm on the mission, can't deal with no bitch and they wonder what's missing. Probably a purpose, I'm dipping the way they be living is really a tragedy. I'm in my North Node, call it in North Pole, ayy. It's a roller coaster, it's in a higher low today. Finding the balance, I'll show you the way. I had to feel it before I can say. Guess you can say I've been practicing faith. I will be straight. I'm in my North Node, call it in North Pole, ayy. Life is a roller coaster, it's in a higher low today. Finding the balance, I'll show you the way. I had to feel it before I could say. Guess you can say I've been practicing faith. I will be straight. Feeling uncomfortable, pain and I ate it like Lunchable. Didn't know what to do, I just decided for me. Couldn't get lost in the streets. Turned out that was the key. So much for keeping it P. I just been giving it D. Fucking the universe like it was married to me. I let it rain. I ain't been playing the games that niggas been playing. I'm painting a picture. Had to ignite the flame to start up the train. The thought to get to the Vegas. I be flying as a crane, can't keep it tame. My spirit has always been bigger. I'm on a whole different plane than all of these lames. I promise to keep getting richer, nigga. I'm in my North Node, colder than North Pole. Ay, like a roller coaster, it's a higher low today. Finding the balance, I'll show you the way. I can feel it before I can say. Guess you can say I've been practicing faith. I will be straight. I'm in my North Node, colder than North Pole. Ay, life is a roller coaster, it's a higher low today. Finding the balance, I'll show you the way. I had to feel it before I could say. Guess you can say I've been practicing faith. I will be straight.
What up? It's your boy Dave B. Watching Dave B on TV, where we go be they bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. And today we talking about, you know what I'm saying, we throwing in a little astrology, talking about the sun in Virgo and the moon in Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? So off the rip. And when we talk about Sagittarius being where the moon is how our feelings are. So our feelings are Sagittarian right now, which really just means it's like expanded. It's exaggerated to a degree. Everything is kind of larger than life right now. We feel about it, which kind of causes a little difficulty when we're dealing with the sun Virgo. So sun and Virgo is making us highly critical. So right now, right now we're taking all the details that we can see and we're feeling a lot of things about them. So this could equate to two different sides, either escape or looking to expand yourself, you know what I'm saying, and looking to actually put yourself in the space to be able to experience what it is that you're going through, you know what I'm saying, because one of the realest things you realize when it comes to life and anything, you got to go through it, you know what I'm saying. You could try to go around it any way you want, but a lot of times that's what always leads to forms of kind of like, if you were to imagine an example of this, right? When you try to go around a certain problem in your life, what happens is you might get over it initially, but when it comes time to actually have to handle what's required, this is where you go through a lot of havoc, a lot of trial and error. And some people get lucky, some people don't, you know what I'm saying? And I don't really believe in luck itself as a concept of just happen. I look at luck as a matter of preparation and timing. So, you know, it's like, you know, having good luck, it doesn't just happen. It's you having a certain level of awareness to either jump into a certain space in which you can take what you already know and apply it, a form of wisdom to make something work out, even without all the actual, that's what more so luck is. Luck is not just some magical thing. You can't think, you know, but I don't want to get too deep into that. But my point is, when we talk about Sagittarius like energy, this just expands it, right? So we either, if we cut a corner, it's gonna seem like we win, it's gonna seem like we get it, but when we get challenged in that position, we kind of fall. You know, that's where problems lie. And you know, it's like the equivalent of just not being prepared. Let's say you went through a certain course in school and you did not, you know, you cheated on all your tests, right? Well, when you actually get the job and stuff like that, it might be certain things that you face that you're expected to already know, but you start making really big mistakes based upon you not doing the groundwork. It's like even with math, like one of those things, you got to learn every step. If you skip a step, that's where you get the wrong answer at the end. And have to go real smooth to where you think that, oh, I just plugged in all the numbers and I got a number that looked like it could be right. But a lot of times, y'all know, like in those problems that you get wrong, even though, boom, you know what I'm saying? It's like You know, you think, oh, now I did the formula how I was supposed to do it. Why this answer come out wrong still? But you know, that's one part of it. That's the escapism part. When you choose escapism, you kind of put everything on the back burner. You choose to kind of do what's more favorable to you, enjoy more. But what you miss out on is the actual work necessary. When you escape, you don't get the actual essence. You don't get the wisdom. You didn't go through the experience, so you don't have the thing that's necessary. One of the most valuable things, experience, because experience can be applied to different aspects of life. And this is how you, again, it's like awareness. Experiences forms of awareness. So that's like the currency of what experiences give you. It pays you in awareness. The more aware you are, the more options you really have, the more ways you have to go about something. Having multiple angles to attack a problem, the solver, or, you know, a person with solutions. A lot of people find it difficult, like when people are boxed into one way of looking at something, they lack solutions. So these be the people who really don't have you know, it's kind of like these are the people who might go through a more harsh situations and turmoil based upon them not being able to come to a solution, versus somebody who is more expanded, been through more experiences. They have more awareness. They can spot certain things from a mile away that can prevent them from getting into that other people made. They can be able to do what seems like them get lucky, but it's them just knowing where to put, you know, where to be at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So it's different things like that. So when you look at so that's being expanded. But when you choose escapism, again, you miss out on all the necessary experiences that give you the awareness to know how to deal with different situations that might come your way. So, you know, when it's applied to a thing, it's like the context of, you know, so if we're applying it to being a musician, if you try to skip steps and you don't learn what, you know, the small things in between, like how to actually write a song. Let's say you just one day wake up and make a hit, right? Yo, on TikTok, but you didn't really learn how to make a song. You didn't really learn how to market yourself. You didn't really even understand your brand. These are different things that if you spend enough time experiencing it, when you go through something like going viral, you know how to take advantage of it better than a person who goes viral, but they don't know what to do with that status. They don't know what to do with getting the notoriety and the attention. So what happens? They end up falling flat on their face on the next release or the next album or whatever have you. They're are the epitome of a 15 seconds of fame type deal, where they're here today, gone tomorrow, you know, versus people who actually face the experience head on and they learn as they go. So different things that they apply becomes what they can perform. Like that girl that got famous for, you know, just a 2-second clip video, her saying some goofy stuff. It's like she went through she instead of running away from it and playing out escapism energy, she dealt with the ridicule. She did things. She went through the experience and she figured out what to do. So it looked like everybody looking like, damn, how this girl get lucky, man? She got lucky. Now she famous for nothing. And it's like, yeah, she might have did something that caused an experience, but instead of, she jumped into it. And from jumping into it, she learned enough to gain a little bit of wisdom to be able to utilize it in a way that looked like, oh, the next step after Sagittarius, which is Capricorn. Now, I say all that to really just say that through in a small way in our actual life right now, where there's many different things you could be experiencing that's causing difficulty and challenges, right? Virgo Virgo needs you to step into those roles. I ain't gonna say needs you to do it, because it's just an energy, but for your own sake, you know what I'm saying, you should consider jumping in. It's like you got a choice, and that's why in the title I put a power of choice. It's like you can either choose to step into that role, go experience, and start to play out what's necessary to make that work, or you could choose the other end of that, which is to say, you know what, this is too much work, or I'm too afraid of what this requires of me, and you could choose escapism. And you could say, man, fuck all that. I'm gonna go ahead and just do what feels better. In the meantime, I feel like it's a big enough meaning or reasoning to step up to whatever's calling me as a responsibility, right? Because we got to look at Virgo sees the time in which everyone is assigned a job, and that job you're assigned is based upon what you did in the spring and summer. So in the spring, it's when we spark new ideas. Hey, this is who I am, y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm finna be on for the next year. So this is your introduction, right? You move into the summer. The summer is when you start to embody that. You really supposed to be going through the experience then. As you go through that experience and playing out that character, you're supposed to learn enough of the ins and outs on the surface level to at least I'm going to now make this new character that started as a spark of an idea. I'm gonna start to make this a job. So this is going to become something I embody through a routine schedule. This is going to become my daily ritual. And as you embody that, that becomes your role. Because if you understand what the sixth house represents, it's you know, of course, the normal things like routine pattern, but with a routine pattern comes a job. You know, house is like a job. So your job is something you go to every day that you become expect to take care of a responsibility in a certain space or area. So on a spiritual level, right, this is what's happening with your character. So the things you're in with your mind, what's on your mind and what's on your heart, what you think and feel, right, the types of feelings you produce and what you do, what they motivate your body to do, which becomes your ritual spell, that becomes your duty, your obligation. This is how things works through you if you're doing things in the right space, right? Because it's a form of having the right thoughts and feelings on you and them inspiring you to take action on things in life, right? Now, when you know yourself, you're able to direct these things. So when you're going through your day-to-day, you tapping into this space, you understanding, okay, I create my thoughts and feelings. So as certain ones come and go, I know which one to choose and cling to and expand on, and which ones to just kill on sight. That responsibility in and of itself, right? But when you start to get better at that, those things become your motivation to go ahead and push you to do something. Shout out to the Hang Dipper. She said, I don't think needs you is wrong. Virgo is a service to others. Therefore, Virgo does also need a return. Bring me and I'll make a bounty with it. Reciprocity is fulfilling needs. I highly agree. I highly agree. And that's probably why that slipped out like that. I should have just let it flow. You know what I'm saying? You said, need a freestyle real quick. Before I kind of remember the name. But anyway, yeah, that's probably why that slipped, because it truly is. And, you know, ironically, that's kind of when it comes to Virgo too, because like Virgo's relation to Virgo, I mean, I said Virgo's relation to Libra, right? It's like, it's kind of this thing where in this Virgo space, I was thinking the other day, I was like, damn, I get why Libra comes to Virgo and the sun falls there, because it's like after you do everything that Virgo needs you to do, you fucking tired and you need a little help. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the sentiment I think is coming through at this time, just collectively. It's like people are we all going through a lot. And at the end of the day, we all need a little bit of help. We all need a little bit of patience. We all need a little bit of grace. We all need a little something. And like, I just think that's the truth of it. Like, it's crazy how through the spring to, you know, the peak of the summertime, you could be all strong you want. I mean, everything is basically dawning on you to be strong. You know what I'm saying? Energy, get up, get out. Taurus, you know, hold it down. Gemini, get out there, network. You know what I'm saying? Talk your game. Cancer, care about something and fight for what you care for. Leo, embodying that, expressing that, having to hold that mask. But by the time you get to Virgo, it's like, look, this is my last stretch to put things in a way in which it can function, you know, without requiring so much, because I need rest. You know, Virgo is like, yo, like, there's a reason why we're rushing and anxious. The sun is going down. We need to build this house so we can have shelter through the night. It's like everyone feels this pressure, and it's not thing. It's like a lot of things I'm starting to understand just about, you know, our natures. I'll say human natures and things like that. Is that these things aren't necessarily bad. These things are, you know, it's just pockets of information teaching you about, you know, it's teaching you about a lot of different things, like it's just about how life works, at least within this context, in this third dimensional space. It teaches you about life, just the natural ways in which, you know, things fall. Like, yeah, but again, not to get too mixed up into that, but you know, that's kind of what's happened collectively. It's like we find ourselves doing a lot of work, and you know, hopefully you can, and this is kind of where the moon in Sagittarius comes in. It can either help or, because with the moon in Sagittarius, it's a, you know, it's a spiritual essence to what's going on right now. So on the negative end, this can make you highly critical. Like I said, all those details now are being expanded. We're looking at everything. We're feeling so much more now just based upon it being in Sagittarius, and we're hyper focused on those little things, but we're making every little thing big. So it's looking like, okay, my experience, what's going on with my experience? And being that we're in a time where everything looks like a lot of work, everything looks like something need to be fixed, the experience starts to become, that optimism that Sagittarius might bring starts to get a little dampened. Now, you know, what you do with that information is up, you know, you can either choose, it's like you have to, everything is a choice. And that power we all have, right? You could either choose to be down about it, or you could choose to kind of look at what is working in your life and kind of focus on something that's a little more optimistic. And it's like you can be optimistic without losing touch with reality. And all of us have a very, you know, distinct connection with reality right now, the sun being opposite Saturn and Pisces. Because really with Saturn and Pisces is creating this this grand mutable square going on, you know what I'm saying? I think Saturn's in Pisces, Jupiter's in Gemini, the sun and Mercury are in Virgo, and what's the last one? Sagittarius, you know, the moon. So, you know, the moon is kind of, it's a lot, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot to deal with. But at the same time, you know, how you would look at it is just understanding, like, from the perspective of where the moon is, right? All these different things, experiences that we're going through, right? The moon is opposite Jupiter, so we don't feel good about these experiences, or we might not feel good about these experiences, or we might be on the other end of this experience where we understand that whatever we're going through is necessary to get to the goal. So it's a balance thing. It's a give and take. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to take the bad with the good too if I want to get through this, if I want to make it to the other side of something. So that's when one moon is at, right? When it comes to experiences, what we're going through, what we're facing, and our meanings and reasonings for things. Like, think about it like this: if you don't have a proper reasoning for why you're doing all the little work now, you're probably not going to be able to motivate yourself or keep yourself in a space to make it possible for things done. And even though it might actually in reality impossible to get everything done, it's the, you know, it's the willingness to do it in the you know, if you want to do it, if you're willing, you'll find some form of a way to make do. You know what I'm saying? Not to make the cliche more complicated, because it's just, if there's a will, it's a way. But you're looking at it like, yo, okay, these are a lot of details. Think about you trying to change certain aspects of your life. A lot of people give up on making important changes they need to do, whether it be health or anything like that. A lot of people give up on that because it just feels like too much work. Then they look at it and it's daunting, but they don't care. If you start with one thing, you will eventually get to the completion of the whole puzzle. You know, every puzzle start with one corner piece or one piece that you just found, you know, and then the second piece, and then you find the third piece, and then it's like, it's got to start with something. And you're the catalyst for that. As a spirit, to remind ourselves we're the catalyst for something to work. You know, just because it looked like things ain't working now, or things aren't where you want them to be, you are the key for it to work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people choose to just throw in the towel, though. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard. It's not the easiest thing to do. Not everybody wants to face it. And, you know, it's, you know, to each their own. You know, we can't fault and throw salt on people. I mean, we can, but at the end of the day, throwing stones and casting stones, you realize it's pointless. You know, it's like, I can cast as many stones as I might as well take what I can and just build with what I got, instead of throwing all my stones away and just being tired at the end of the day. It's like, you know, at a certain point, it's like, man, fuck it. To each their own. And this is what I got to work with. And everybody's karma is that bunch of bricks around you. That is like, you could use these bricks to cast stones at others, but at the end of the day, this is your karma. So the second you say, oh, let me stop tossing these bricks away, I need to start building something, then you get somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You get to some kind of conclusion. You figure out some kind of shelter. You start to make sense out of what's going on. And that becomes your, you know, whatever you build, whether that's a stage for you to stand on, a podium for you to speak at, or something for you to cover your head with, what you have to build it. And that's an internal process. But getting back to what I was saying, astrology wise, the moon is Sagittarius, opposite Jupiter, feeling uncomfortable with experience or understanding what's necessary for that experience to get better, right? On the on another end is squaring Saturn and Pisces, so feeling uncomfortable with it, but there being something we have to learn based upon our ability to assign a meaning and reasoning. It's the masculine side. Well, it's dealing with the masculine side of Sagittarius, but it's in the moon. So, I mean, the masculine side of Jupiter, but it's on the moon. So this is like a form of needing to, with our emotional state, assign a better meaning and reasoning behind some of the realities going on. It's like this is kind of being that they're both Jupiter energies currently. They're both in Jupiter ruled signs, like Saturn being in Pisces and the moon being in Sagittarius. There's a better conversation that can go on through fiction though. So it's almost like again, it's something that could potentially be helpful if you have the right perspective and attitude. Your conversation with, between your feelings going on with reality is saying, again, you could choose something that's a little more optimistic. It may not seem like it's realistic to you immediately, but part of what the moon and the Saturn can do is at least start to make a better meaning and reasoning for why we either need to tend to these responsibilities. Because really the conversation between both, and I've been saying this about Saturn being retrograde, the thing about Saturn and Pisces right now is we have to come to grips with the decisions that lead to making reality something we don't have to escape from versus the excuses we give ourselves that lead to just a strong reality and continue in a perpetual cycle of, it's like we right now, especially with Virgo season, being very keen on patterns that we create, patterns that cause us to keep on running into the same road. I mean, same blockage. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what we do is forms of self-sabotage. We block ourselves based upon not being, and part of not being aware. See, what happens is a lot of people develop fear, and that fear leads them to, again, do what leads to you being more unaware. We try to go around things, trying to avoid things, going, everywhere but through. You know what I'm saying? But when you would say, okay, this is what's necessary for me to do, and you go through the experience, then all of a sudden these become the gem. These become the moments in which it seemed like you never did this before, but it's almost like you've been here a million times. I've been saying like this season is like Mr. Miyagi, where wax on, wax off didn't make no sense, but all of a sudden it's a primary move that you can use for combat or whatever it is. So in so many ways, it's the work in the small details that train us to become bigger and more adept and more equipped to just deal with certain things in life. You know what I'm saying? So our people who've been through something when they was younger are usually likely to be more successful later on because of the skill learned from not having what everybody else might have, that they became spoiled. And that even plays out astrologically as people with trines and sextiles versus people who got a bunch of squares and oppositions. Oppositions, those build character. Not getting what you want is what builds character, because in order to deal with that, it takes integrity. You know what I'm saying? It's like people who always get what they want, it's like they're oftentimes not given a big enough opportunity to develop real character because everything was handed to them. Shout out to Etheric Moss in this mug. What's up, bro? So this is what we got to keep in mind. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep things like this in mind just so that we don't these things that us, again, give more reason into why it's necessary to go through the struggle of, or the frustration of dealing with these details and keeping on schedule, because a lot of things can knock us off, but at the same time, getting back to where the moon is at, it's also squaring with the sun and Mercury. So again, on the other end of this Jupiterian energy, right, the reason is this is what's causing kind of probably the most frustration. We already talked a little bit about the sun and the moon's relationship with this energy, but to reiterate, the moon is making us feel a lot more about these little details. So things are starting to become more like, it's almost like you feel like pressure is increasing. And again, all it is a call. It's a call to action in a lot of ways, a call for you to step into the role. And remember, we at the half moon, you know what I'm saying? We in the half moon where it's looking like, where, this is the part in which the waxing period where we have to switch gears. We have to look at this as like, okay, let's lean into that decision. This is the summertime of the moon cycle. So this is where we got to kick it out. And it's like, okay, now we know what we're doing. People who haven't been going with, haven't experienced things, haven't been going out and engaging with the world. Y'all might not feel as much pressure, but it's still the same thing. It's like everybody right now in that half moon space, that waxing part, it's like this, what we got to do to put energy in before the full moon. Full moon gonna be in Pisces right next to Saturn. So a lot of things, it's like,
I don't like to pop culture astrologers just be like, oh, it's a portal's opening and stuff like that, which again, if when you understand what you're talking about, you could talk about portals and stuff. But when they say portals and stuff, they get people confused and people start thinking it's like a fantasy land thing, where it can be if you know what you're doing. But you know, again, I don't like that rhetoric, but it is kind of like certain things closing, where again, illusions that you thought was so real before will show you for yourself based upon your ability to be satisfied when the full moon comes around, full moon in Pisces. Are you actually satisfied with your reality? You know, in that again, like I said, right now is literally you're being given the tools to build. You don't have to feel like you have to escape from. You play around right now, what's going to happen is when that full moon come around, you're going to feel like, damn, I'm unsatisfied. I really need to escape this. It's going to feel like you living in a nightmare and dramatic. And a lot of times when transits hit, we don't even realize how the effects of a transit like this might not hit on that day. It might hit a month later. It might hit in the middle of another transit where something you didn't quite get right here that led to a bad seed turned into a bad fruit 2 months later, to you know saying, you know, I don't, you know, however many months later, it could turn into an experience that drags on for, see, this is how I caught in time loops, because when you start missing steps, and again, it's not about knowing astrology, because again, we can do this naturally. It is when you're not riding the wave properly, right? What happens is it's a build-up thing, it's an accumulation thing, and sometimes you can go a while without checking yourself and getting back, because it's almost like when, what is it? When a person makes one, it's like what they say about lies. When you make one lie, it leads to another lie. It's almost like you got to keep lying and keep creating the story in order to keep up with the lie. That's kind of what happens when people plant bad seeds. When you're not properly, it's like one bad choice, and you not checking yourself, you not being real with yourself, taking a moment to sit and do the shadow work real quick to reverse something you know you did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? When you don't do that for a certain amount of time, you getting tangled up in an energy web. And it, like I was kind of saying about, you know, people who want to change, it's like you always got to account for what you expressed in energies and mindsets that were prior. You know what I'm saying? There's no, you know, you got to clean that mess up. So if you did a bunch of planting bad seeds in the world, so you got a lot of people involved, you might have, you know, mess with a lot of people and stuff. And this is not like it's not really a morality thing. This is about like a self-morality thing. So I'm not talking about general right and wrong. I'm talking about what you know is right or wrong, because everybody's personal morality, it plays a part, you know what I'm saying? Because you know what you doing when you going around and you creating bad energy and stuff like that. See, there's some people who do that, who that's not really them, and they're doing it because they're scared, insecure, or got some other trauma that's causing them to act in a certain way. Then you got people who do this and it's part of who they are. So it seemed like bad people don't get bad consequences, because if a person is still playing out who they are, even if who they are is an asshole, a dickhead, or whatever, then by all means of universal law, they playing out an energy in the way they supposed to. Hey, they was here to be a demon in other people's life. That's some, like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, grow up if you looking at life like that. But at the same time, there's people who do that because they're hurting people. You're not really built like that. That's not really your true sentiments. Therefore, you're sinning. You're lying to yourself. You're playing as a masquerade because you're in pain and you're not facing that. That God looks at that a lot differently, where you won't get the grace until you face yourself and you be who you are, versus people who are just like that. You know, and again, I don't, you know, this is not a conversation of are people born good. Everybody's just born as they are. And based from your perspective, one thing could look evil. From another person's perspective, that could look like the best thing to ever do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it gets tricky. That option is not reality. It's your reality, or whoever's looking at it's reality. You could, you know what I'm saying? With that, you got to take that for what it is. Not actual, the end all be all, but what somebody's locked into as a perspective. You could choose to respect that, or you could say, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody got a perspective about what you got going on, unless you correlate something in reality that make, you know what I'm saying? It's like a lot, you don't know what space people really coming from sometimes when they giving you advice, when they telling you about something that they notice, when, you know, sometimes you got to listen with, again, it's like you got to listen with eyes. You got to be able to spot certain energetic movements that they make, and you got to be able to really decipher energy. And not just decipher energy. It's not like reading people, but it is a form of reading people, you know. But that's like deep empathy. Like, empathy is nothing more but being aware of emotional pathways. So for instance, if you're expressing yourself in a certain way, if I have a deep of empathy, I can trace your emotional pathway of why you could be expressing yourself in that way. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right. I could be 98% based it depending on how aware I am of myself, and because see, self-awareness is a form of you knowing where you start, your energy starts, and your energy ends, and where another starts and another person's energy ends. So like having a expanded awareness, you can tell who at versus where another spirit at. So that's the first thing. Then when a person is expressing themselves, based upon your awareness, you able to see what is contributing to their expression and where it's not. Where it's not and where their energy begins, you start to be able to pinpoint, oh, okay, they're super aggressive about something that doesn't, you know, about this little aspect. There must be, you know what I'm saying, you can kind of start to trace why would they emphasize that? Why would they ask that kind of question? You know what I'm saying? That's like getting into another aspect of just spirit language. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of this is not so much for, a lot of this is to help you in your relationships, because when you understand these different things, you're able to connect on a way deeper level to whoever you're relating to, because you start to it puts you in a place where your choices can come from a place that's even more true to you, because your choices that you make on how to respond and how to interact, they're made out of they can be made without the condition of, you know, because humans have a condition of wanting to know what's going to happen next and being afraid of, you know, afraid of a lot of things. If I say this, they might say that. They might not think of me the same. If I say this, they might leave. If they this, they might think this. And when you start to really be able to speak that language though, and you start to understand more into like peeping where something might truly be coming from, and you gain that awareness, it's like you able to connect in a much more genuine way, where a person might not even understand why you're, you know, kind of communicating with them like that. But it's almost like you start to understand more of whoever it is that you're relating to the point where you talking to, it's like it's y'all talking to each other, but now y'all talking through where, you know, it's like this is the beginning stages of being able to heal. Like when you get into a deep actual relationship, it's like you start to be able to heal each other that nobody else could connect to. If y'all get, I'm going off on a tangent for real, but getting back on the point, because that's shit. Like when you talk about, especially like a water sign, things that water signs so be privy to than other elements, where it be like, you know, you might have a water sign friend, you be like, why is my water sign friend always seem like they just, you know, understanding about certain things or accept certain things? And sometimes, you know, yeah, it is true that could be that could go too far and lead to gullible energy, naive energy, getting tricked and getting drained, right? That's very true. But what, you know, again, everybody need water, because water signs, it's a certain way in which, like, when you really got a water sign with you, it's almost like they'll say certain things and trigger you, because you like, how the fuck you know that? Or how'd you think to say it like that? Or why did you even say it like that? And it could throw you off at first, but again, like, nobody gonna understand you like a water sign friend. Like, it just is certain things that water signs pick up on that nobody else can catch. And you be like, why do they treat me like this? And even when you be rude to them and they still be understanding and it's with you, or they still want to connect with you, you don't even understand why. And it's like, you don't realize they'll connect to you on places that you just, you know, and it take a lot. I'm saying it take a lot. That's why each water sign play out differently when they're interacting. Like how Scorpio might scare a lot of people. Scorpio, like, real extreme with it, because to them it's almost like they got the type of connection that is equivalent to like slicing your hand with a little knife and shit like that, and you slicing your hand and y'all shaking with blood. Like they do their connection like that. Cancers do it well. Cancers do it in a way that's a lot more controlling, a lot more engulfing. It's like they'll do it in a way where, because what they're doing is creating a safety. So their connection is, it can feel a lot more like you have responsibilities to do with a Cancer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Scorpio feel like you got to go to war, you got to die a million times and be reborn and live in the underworld. Cancer feel like you're being, you know, engulfed, where it's almost like, you know, it's like that crab claw, where Cancer connection starts to make you feel responsible for certain things to uphold the, you know, so that not everybody like that. That's why Cancers get a bad rap sometimes, because they make you feel pressure to do some emotional shit. And then Pisces, the reason why it's so elusive and it feels loose is because the way Pisces does it is in a much more free way, where it almost seems like, damn, are you just agreeing with everything I'm doing? And it's like, not really, you know what I'm saying? It's just understanding flow. Like a Pisces will not, it's like because again, as a Pisces, I get this all the time. It's like, are you just copying what I'm doing? And it's like, no, it's understanding. Sometimes there's no reason to conflict with a certain wave. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if your vibe is good and my vibe is good, then hey, that mean like the vibe. It's a dance. You know what I'm saying? In a dance, you don't say, well, why you stepping where I'm stepping? It's a flow. You know what I'm saying? We dancing. So that's how the Pisces connection. So again, that sometimes it could feel fake, or like, damn, like you ain't sticking up for yourself or making yourself the direction and shit. Like with Pisces, it just sometimes it play out like that because it's mutable. You know what I'm saying? So you understanding, you gotta understand. You said like David said, pug nigga. Right. That's how that Cancer shit. Real talk. Shout out to Jack. He said you on point with the energies, the energies. Right. You right. You know what I'm saying? Going deep on some real spiritual stuff and getting to details, because, you know, that's the reason. Like when we think about harvest season, Virgo season, is the details are important because of the little nuance and stuff like that. It's stuff that we don't even realize that come back to bite us and stuff. And so that's where the Sagittarius moon could get us in trouble right now. It's just wanting to escape that little part. But when we understand and we mature, we approach it like in a mature spirit or mature individual, we understand, oh, okay, it's important to know the details, because you know, it's important to know the details, because those little small changes, you know, they make a world of difference. You know, they determine things that if I just were to overlook them, I'd make a lot of more mistakes. And see, the moon trining Chiron is more beneficial in the sense of very clear and maybe even wiser sense of mistakes and not making the same ones. So it's kind of, you know, on a positive end. It's also trining the North Node, which feels a lot more comfortable with accepting the challenges, even though they still might feel like, and still might feel like you unsure, but at the same time, you could feel more connected to it simply by you can feel more comfortable with it, knowing that, okay, I'm gonna have to expand myself into the space of the unknown. I'm gonna have to do what it takes to get into this position. And that's the mature approach. If you find yourself trying to run away from things, well, ask yourself two questions. Is there a real reason why you're running, or is that reason just fear? The real reason could be you entangled yourself in a situation that isn't for you. Realizing through the morality of the other individuals around you, and y'all disconnect when it comes to, you know, meanings and reason, that can show you, oh shit, I'm not in the right space. So that's a different form of ism, where you're choosing to separate yourself, and that's more so you taking the higher ground, you being like, oh, I need to separate myself and ascend into a better space for those individuals, for myself to be around individuals around me who I work with and stuff like that, you know. So it's putting you in a different space. That's a higher form, higher octave of you kind of waking up to yourself being on the wrong side of energy and looking to rectify. You want to, you know, want things to look out for and signs that you kind of walking down this path is if you're choosing to escape, and when you dive deep inside, you know in your heart it's because you're afraid. You don't know what's going to come next, and you're dealing with energies that's making you question your ability to rise up occasion, to expand in that space. So again, whatever you do is your choice, but know that, okay, you playing a dangerous game at that end, because you liable to plant seed, like, again, running away from things, and that running away from energy it'll play out in different ways moons to come. Because when you think about it, the moon sliding into Capricorn, what's that going to hit for? That's going to be a trine, right? So it's like you can miss out on a real cool opportunity to start to actually position yourself in that space that you're doing as a routine. That's a crucial part in this whole, like, I love to look at transits based upon moon cycles, because it gives you a perfect time frame to understand a certain development of whatever it is, from the physical scale to from awareness to an actual manifestation of an opportunity, right? Because it's showing you during the waxing phase, you putting energy in. During the waning phase, you dealing with the repercussions. And if you did what you're supposed to do, you'd be nourished. You should be able to move. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to deal with what comes at you and play protection with what you did accumulate, because you did it. And if you don't, you playing catch up, and it's feeling like you drowning. That's just it. Every time, that's the same shit. No matter where you at, satisfied or not. And even when you satisfied, it's like the shit still keeps going, but it's about how you do it and your approach to it. So, you know, but getting back to, it's like that's a crucial part in this moon cycle, because you got to think about it. During this waxing moon, during every waxing moon, the moon hits 2 trines, 2 gifts, 2 opportunities for you to really maximize on the energy at play in a way like a gift given to you. You know what I'm saying? We all, you know, like, we can get into the real magic sequence, because it's like every waxing period comes with sets of, what is it, 2 sets of because even with Virgo went to 2 sets of sextiles, and what is it, 2 sets of trines. I don't want to get into that yet. I'm gonna do a graph for that, because that's its own live stream. But if you think about it, it's like these are chances. These are, like, if you were to play Monopoly, these are spots on the board where you can get a little chance card and get a little power up or something like that. Something could play out in a way that's in your favor. Also be the opportunity for the opposite, though. But my point is, you play the game, and you know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? A lot more can happen. He said, be an extreme alchemist at this period. Right, that's highly important. Shout out to Site 11, man. Y'all go check him out, man. That's my dude. You know what I'm saying? He be dropping some real, and I like his diagram. He got a diagram for the astrology shit too. You know, he said, yeah, do a graph. This is my first time hearing. Graph for that. I'm gonna write that down, actually, because I'll be forgetting, bro. That's another thing right now. Look, especially for water, fire sign, write it down and do it. Write it down. Period. Two try. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'm gonna make sure I prepare that. But you know, you gotta really do. You know, so right now it's highly important. Like Moss was saying, it's highly important to because that's the thing with Virgo too. Virgo's gonna bring you a lot of problems. Problems are opportunities for you to, you know, fix things, find solutions, and make things better. You know, conflict is always a potential catalyst for something to be improved upon. You know what I'm saying? So don't avoid it, lean into it, and then you actually open the door to make something stronger. We have to embrace those things, especially now. Let's get into these alignments too. The moon in Sagittarius hitting so we talked about this mutable grand square. So a lot of things, again, dealing with change, to kind of find our ability to change. You know, we might want to be stuck in a certain way, but we're going to constantly be hit with examples that show that whatever ways we were sticking to is not viable to survive in this time. It's like, it's not going to work. Certain things that were tried and true, maybe attitudes we used to be in, mindsets and mentalities, all of that stuff has to change and morph in some way. So it doesn't have to be a painful experience, but it does have to be just certain, because you got to think about it too. Mutable energy is really big on perception. All mutable signs deal with perception, how something is perceived of it. So it's almost like in a sense of we're getting ready to be on the reflection, you know, aka the seventh house. Being that we're getting ready to be in the seventh house, we have to start to adjust how we see things. It's almost like when you look in a mirror, you have to understand, oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at a mirror, so I'm gonna seem like it's on my left, and my left is gonna seem like it's on my right. It's like a mental thing, and it's you still you, but you gotta adjust yourself to, oh, I'm looking at a mirror right now. So everybody we in that middle of that adjusting. Mars being in Cancer, you know, it's a tricky energy because it's getting help right now from a lot of the earth energies, right? Sextiles and things like that. So opportunities for that passion to be cared for and nurtured in a proper way. But how Mars has to show up again, along with that perception change, we have to know what we care to fight for. And a lot of those questions are being asked right now, leading up to the full moon, because the full moon is going to trine to Mars. So it's almost like what meant to be fought for, our duties, responsibilities, and obligations that we're tied to on an emotional level. So we have to, you know, again, that's kind of what's more so going to be called the question on whether we're satisfied. It's our emotional connection to a lot of our duties and obligations. And you know, the truth of the matter is we don't have to get into these things. And so the times in which they become difficult and they feel like a lot more than what we can handle, again, the only thing that will be able to suffice is our willingness to do it, our willingness to be of service, our willingness to accomplish or to fix or to approach things as if they are a part of us. So that's why it's so important right now to really know what it is you're involved in. And that's why even the sun plays out a certain way. Like when we're going through a waxing period, it plays out basically as the tester. Through the sun, we playing out different aspects of this energy so that when the full moon comes, we can ask ourselves, okay, worth it? Is this really what we wanted to do? Did we manifest what we intended to? And if the answer is no, then we know, okay, well, we've spent our actions on the right investment. And that becomes the adjustment. That becomes what we need to take with us as adjustment. See, sometimes people want to play it as, you know, trying to always be right. And when you translate that into, like, you know, doing astrology or any type of spiritual work, you kind of miss the point. The point is more so about the experience, knowing, you know, doing what you want to do because that's what you want to do. Not trying to do what you think is going to be the right thing, because chances are you're looking from a perspective of trying to be validated. Whether you get validations from ambers, or you can even get validation from, you know, what you think is a synchronicity. A lot of these things that people get validated on when they jump into spiritual, a lot of these things is the reason why they stagnate in life, because they sit around and they think getting a synchronicity or an angel number is confirmation that it'll work, where the only thing that is true, you know, only thing that's a true sign of you doing the work is the result. So if your living situations aren't improving, if you're not seeing ways in which you're expanding your horizon in areas that you intended to, you didn't intend to expand it in a certain way. If you don't see your life actually, and not just see your life unfold, but you don't see yourself in these positions, making these moves, then that's a deeper question you got to really ask yourself. Is this stuff helping me? You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody got to ask themselves. You know, we could talk astrology all day, but if it's not helping you, it's not looking like it's moving things for you, and it doesn't have to be money wise. I'm just talking about in life, you as a person. If it's not making you a better person, if it's not putting you in the scene of different people who are better people and inspiring you to do better and be better in your life, then what's the use? You know what I'm saying? Just to say, you know, I feel like I'm doing something good in God's eyes. Well, you know, that's not even what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, we let God work through us. It's not about saying, oh, I hope God approves. That's religious mentality. Oh, I hope God likes what I'm doing here. Oh, I hope God bless me because I'm doing so good. Versus you being yourself, doing what you know is right, and life show you how good it can get. You know what I'm saying? Like, people be kind of, again, and people be to blame, but it's like this is how people was indoctrinated to think of, and that's the problem. People think about life in this kind of way. Saying weird greed and wanting to be praised and things like that, because that's what they was taught to do. But when you really expand life and you live life and you see how this shit work, you realize, no, it's not about any of that. He said it's like Saturn out moon, but the energy you put in the moon can make that as heavy and trap you. Perspective can make that as heavy, right? Yeah, because like when it comes to Saturn and the moon, see, when the full moon comes around, you're just going to be feeling a whole lot about what the next, because the moon is a reflection. So the moon conjunct Saturn, we just gonna be feeling a whole lot about reality. And if we haven't spent this time period right now, waxing period, and during earlier stages of Virgo, putting in the work to make reality look like something we don't need to escape from, we're gonna feel the weight, all the things that feel like restrictions. And the irony of it is a lot of them are high key illusions. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of these could just be illusion stuff and your mind playing tricks on you. You in a bad dream at the moment, because y'all know how that Pisces energy gets. But it can also be the reverse. It's a grandeur. You didn't do no work. You got no results. But here you are, feeling high and mighty about yourself until somebody come around and tell you about yourself. Because that could happen too. Wake up feeling like, yeah, I'm satisfied. And then people be like, all right, well, where's the results? And when they show them the result, they be like, they look at the piece of paper, they be like, you ain't do shit. And then boom, all of a sudden, the rug is flipped from, you know what I'm saying, the table. They're like, oh God, how about failure? And now they, you know what I'm saying, and in a time where, be very, and I say, I don't know why this coming through, but I'm gonna say, if you got kids and stuff, pay attention to your kids and stuff as far as how they feel, especially if they kind of like teen stuff, because this could be a time in which, this be that energy, full moon in Pisces, this be that energy where, early onsets of depression can come on, because this is the type of energy to make you feel heavy and spiral into that and start to think it's real. And Virgo has a way of, again, it's almost like Virgo does the opposite of Pisces. Pisces might affirm all the positive things about how you feel and stuff like, oh, validate every feeling you got and shit like that. Virgo might validate all the negative things or all the criticism I have. So Virgo might come around and be like, yeah, you really ain't shit. Yeah. And it's like an inner voice thing. Like, yeah, you really can't do that. You really see the reality. You shouldn't have did that in the first place. So, check on your people, or even adults, like for real. Like, just everybody should be a little mindful during the full moon time. Just aware of what people might be going through that you can't see, because it's just a harsh time. People, especially people who be, again, you can't be nobody babysitter. So I'm not advocating for that. It's like, if somebody out here tripping and they don't know how to handle them, if you got people in your life that you care about and you connected with them like that, that might be a cool time to have a heart-to-heart with them, just to kind of see, make sure they in a cool headspace, because the Pisces energy can be strong, especially next turn, and we dealing with opposition where it's a recipe for self-doubt and spiraling. Because see, both Virgo and Pisces, they spiral. Same thing with Sag, but the axis between Pisces, the Pisces spiral and the Virgo spiral are way, in my opinion, way harder than the than the Gemini and the Sag. Because see, Gemini and Sag can spiral, and Sag can get pretty depressed, and Gemini can get pretty nonchalant and kind of overthinky and stuff like that. But it'd be rough, you know what I'm saying? It'd be rough, you know what I'm saying? But that's that energy that if you ain't looking at it from the right perspective, those energies can go off on a tangent. All the mutable signs, really. Check on all your mutable friends. I'll say that. Just check on them, you know what I'm saying? He said, for my Virgo brother from a distance. Right. You just got to throw that, hey. You know what I'm saying? You said real shit is like vain glorification for validation. Right. It don't be rooted in nothing real. And it's like, again, it's the result. It's what you see from pop culture astrologers and spiritualists, spiritual practitioners, pop culture ones. That's all they give. And because it's the same people who be like, all Virgo, they'll name every single water sign or something like that and be like,
Y'all finna be rich this week. Y'all finna do this week and stuff. It'd be like, what the wait? What are you even utilizing to make that claim? So I could respect a Twitter astrologer to at least come up with something that sound creative, like, oh yeah, Jupiter finna be in y'all 7th. You might get some money. Like I don't respect it, but I can. Okay, you done did something. You done. People be like, all Virgo, Capricorns, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer, y'all finna rich because it's a Tuesday. Shit. It's like, damn, like, and people buying that, and people just want to like and retweet something and pay $5.99 and not have to think about their own life. People will pay you $1 million not to think about their own life. If I ain't got to think about my life, I'll pay. People will pay. Man, that's how you know everything that they done built is crumbling down. People right now do not want to be in reality. That VR stuff about to take off. So next election come through and whoever get it, because you got to think about it like this is what I know they pattern is. Right now is just a terrible time. Whoever they put in office, everything gonna seem like it's on the uprise, like it's gonna be a quick little, this hopeful energy, and that as soon as that curve happen, everybody who get me at that point is gonna cash in on some virtual reality shit, and it's gonna be like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to a flame. They're like, damn, these fucking humans, they be like, it's to a flame. You give them a problem, ooh boy, then give them a solution, they will eat that shit right up. He said Virgo, Ascendant, Mars, and Chiron. Yeah, man. Yeah, but yeah, man. But seriously though, like full moon in Pisces, like you just gotta just be gentle with people, man. Like even if you don't care, you don't gotta be a dickhead, because chances are people are beating themselves up a lot rougher than you can even think that you doing. You know what I'm saying? So you're not helping anyway. You know, you're not helping, you're not hurting. Just kind of go on about your day. But so, you know, and that's where right now, like I said before, that's a result of not doing the work now. And the work now is just you being real with yourself enough to say, okay, I'm gonna put the things that make me feel super comfortable, that look like escapism, on the back burner, and I'm gonna sacrifice those things for what I know needs to be done. Like Virgo, like shout out to Veronica, like she said in the beginning, the Hanged Empress, she was saying that, you know, Virgo is serving. So in so many ways, Virgo is where we have to make major sacrifices. We might have to sacrifice a way that we think. We might have to sacrifice a way that we feel, what we act on as a routine and pattern for the sake of something to work better. And that's very much the higher octave of Virgo, because Virgo likes to hold on to things too. Virgo likes to hold on and keep something the same. You know what I'm saying? It's mutable, but it's still an earth sign, so it still plays out stubbornness. Every element got their thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you still an earth sign, you still gonna be a little stubborn and hard-headed. But even with that, it's like Virgo still one of the main things. Shout out to Mama Nova, you know what I'm saying? Thank you too for coming through. One of the main things though for Virgo is like the higher octave of it is knowing what to sacrifice. Because see, a lot of Virgos, the problem is early on they're put in situations where they sacrifice themselves for the wrong people, for the wrong things, and they're overworked, they're overstressed, they become, again, grouchy and angry over that, irritated. So to protect themselves, they become critical, they become very, you know, reluctant, maybe even like on an extreme, they become reluctant to help because they know that, you know, and the thing about a Virgo and why, you know, like they hearts be big, because it's like even if they reluctant to help, they still want to help. So you gotta not help this, they can't help it. They like, this person's an idiot, they won't ever figure it out. I have to get their hands dirty. They like, I have to do it, you know. But what happens is when they do it from that space, it turns into resentment. It turns into, now they got that, now it's almost they look at you with a side eye. And you thought it was a healthy agreement between y'all two, and then in the Virgo mind, they low-key resent you, even if they don't. It's like they can't help it. It's like you put them in a position where they feel like they doing more work than they have to do, and you don't really even understand the stress that they be under. So they don't even, you know, it's hard for a Virgo, you know what I'm saying? Especially then, I can only imagine. Woo! But everybody got their thing, you know what I'm saying? But when a Virgo does get to a space where they more comfortable,
they learn what to sacrifice and what not, you know, and they're able to do things as far as a form of duty where they can feel proud of what they contribute to. They're also treated with the same amount of respect. Like Veronica also pointed out reciprocity. I gotta find that comment because that was hard. What she said actually was some real shit. She said, I don't think need you is wrong. Virgo is certain, therefore Virgo does also need a return, right? Bring me what you have and I'll make a bounty with it. Reciprocity is fulfilling needs, right? What she said. I had to just recite what she said because that reciprocity is what they earn, what they get when they finally figure out what's worth sacrificing versus what's, you know, what they need to more so protect. And you know, I say all that to say right now we just understanding what we need to sacrifice, and a lot of what we do need to sacrifice is the things that make us feel extremely comfortable but don't really lead to nothing productive, don't lead to anything prosperous, don't lead to anything looking like a solution in our life. It's actually like the problem. You want to lose weight, well, certain habits you doing when it comes to your health and what you eating is making that impossible. You have to sacrifice that. You want to make more money, certain things you're doing with your time are looking like it's not productive. You might need to sacrifice that. You might need to sacrifice this form of entertainment. You might have to sell that PS5, dog. Sorry. You might have to buy weed for that week. You might have to sacrifice that for the sake of what you know, what you think is what's going to actually be more helpful and productive to you. It's almost like when you do certain things like that, like you play discipline, though, it's almost like you serve yourself. You serve a future version of you that can thrive based upon decisions you made in the present to be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at discipline as service to yourself. You know, as they say, discipline is almost like the highest form of self-love. Or it's on the other spectrum where you see Capricorn and Cancer, self-love or self-care, and you know what I'm saying, stuff that deals with your emotional safety, very important. But then there's discipline, knowing when to say, okay, yeah, my self-care day is over and I don't need to spend too much today, tomorrow. I need to budget, I need to cut this, and I need to make sure I don't do X, Y, and Z with my body, my time, and my mind. So clear to do more things with my energy and make more use of my, you know, whatever you got to do, so on and so forth. Now, moon being in, yeah, we've been talking about moon and Sagittarius, talking about Chiron, we talked about Aries energy, yeah, also the moon squaring, so even that energy, you know, learning a little bit more about how to feel about these imaginations and stuff like that. To be more clear, again, battles with self-doubt, perception. You know, Neptune is big with perception. It messes with it. So based upon your emotional state at the moment, you could not know how to feel. That could lead to you seeing the world in a way that's unsafe or uncomfortable, which could lead you to make certain, you know, rash decisions that if you just took a moment to recognize where you was being, you know, where you created something to be afraid of, or where you allowed your mind to kind of go out of pocket, you know what I'm saying, you could prevent yourself from jumping into something, you know, that you don't necessarily need to be in. Neptune is like where we're deriving creativity from. Neptune is kind of in a critical place. It's in retrograde too, so we're kind of rethinking certain spiritual models that we was following, certain spiritual codes and morality, but on a deeper sense, more so like our spiritual systems and what we believe in, like overall beliefs. And everyone's really rethinking their beliefs to a degree. And like that's why a lot of this full moon in Pisces is coming down to that. It's almost like a complete breakdown, or it's a, you know, it's asking you, are you satisfied with what you believe in? The dream, that imagination, and the reality of it. You know, like you said with Saturn, it's like, are you satisfied with that? You know, is this dream really going to start to build, you know? And the only thing that can read that is us knowing, well, I with my actual work routine I'm doing with my actions is working towards that, you know. And anything could look like working towards a dream if you set it to that, you know what I'm saying? And people walking around with 9-to-5 jobs, not seeing how you having a job is you on that pursuit of that dream. If you keep that dream in the right perspective, if you keep your situation in the right perspective, that's looking like, oh, I'm getting the funds to make that power. I'm looking like I'm getting the, you know what I'm saying? If that's how you write it in mind, then that's what it is. So many people look like, well, I'm just working this job and I can't do my dream until I finish this job or I make enough money. If you look at life like that, you're not taking advantage of the creativity. If you're not being an artist with your life, you're not, you know, looking at what's right in front of you and creating the story you want to live. It's like you're not in who you trying to be, who you are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the point. That's why we all have a Neptune, to be able to look at things in life and make correlations, connections, meanings, and reasonings, and say, oh, this is my journey. You know, again, everybody sees things differently, but you might, that's one of the things, you might not be seeing what's right in front of you too, depending on, because again, you might have heavy earth, you might have heavy air, you might be too in your mind in general to be able to look at, oh wait, I'm actually at this job and the job is contributing to me building a dream and shit like that. You might not have seen it that way. Or earth, you might not see how it correlates, but how was this working on a dream? And the thing is like, you know, I guess, you know, how you want to live is how you want to live, but you know, it just, to me, it seems that's a more difficult way to live, when you can kind of start to look at things as far as them being connected, you know, like, okay, well, you can make it sense instead of looking at it like these two separate things. And what that creates is you're making yourself depressed, because you're separating. It's almost like you're splitting your own life into two halves, where you can only be in the 3D world and then you can only be in your dream world. And it's like, that's one of the things about spirituality that I think it's actually for, is to be able to, not reality, but to be able to live in a way where, you know, your reality is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so many times it seems like people get to spirituality and they want to use it to escape reality. So everything becomes, well, let me just go in my fantasy land, let me meditate, let me astral, let me do this, and I can avoid all conflict, and I could be, you know, Buddha, all that bullshit. But then there's, you know, but when you know, y'all know in this space and y'all really doing the spiritual work, every conclusion, at least that I've seen, leads back to me wanting to come back into reality and live life better, live a better experience based upon what's actually going on, me knowing how to express myself, knowing how to, you know, again, going through these different experiences, learning different aspects of things, relating and connecting, and it seems like it's better and more things to play with in life. AKA, again, I'm right here in my 9 to 5, but I'm building my dream at the same time. And when I leave that 9 to 5, I put actual work into it, and I'm seeing it grow, and I see different ways and potentials it can turn into something else. Becomes a much more fulfilling life versus living life highly unfulfilled, thinking that I have to escape everything. And this is the reason why people even get addicted to things like drugs, because they want to be in some kind of separate reality. Their life became not enough. You know, people who are high on life, it's the kind of the same concept of you just being spiritual. Like, oh, I don't need nothing else. I'm me. I could take a walk, and I'm in Disneyland, or a better place that I created for myself. Fuck a Disney brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my own world, and then that can translate into what you create and put back in the world. Again, art, you know, or anything you do, you know, even if you sell houses, you're an artist, because you create experiences that you bind and, you know, to other people. Again, you can make it work for you in whatever you do. If you're an accountant, I do finances and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you do, you make it work. Even if it don't, and again, like, even if the 9 to 5 you got, or the job you got, is just to make money, because that could, again, you making money, but that money is getting what? Used to do something else that you actually want to do, that's worth doing. You know, because if you don't find a way to do this stuff, you put yourself, I feel like you're self-schizophrenic in a way. If you don't find a way to blend your spirit with your reality, you grow, it leads you to more misses, but ones that are more extreme, ones that's more like in relation to psychosis, because you can't quite make sense, and now you're living two lives, and that's not a healthy way for the mind to work oftentimes. And that's why the world that they created, gotta remember, they created this world for dummies. You know what I'm saying? They like, one thing my dad used to tell me when I was driving, and he was like, don't worry. They make the street for the dumbest possible person to be able to get from point A to point B. They built it like this. Every sign, exactly what it means. And when you start to understand that, you get into everything they built, and you start to understand even how Masons think and stuff like that. You realize, oh yeah, they made this world for humans who don't know how to think for themselves. So everything is here for you, down to law. Learn what laws mean and what these words mean, and you'll be able to use these things. Like, everything is, that's why they say everything is in a book, because they made this world. Like, everything is in plain sight, because they needed the lowest level of spirit to be able to comprehend. But the thing about the lowest aware spirit, they're not able to see what's in plain sight, so they're still a victim of and stories and all different things they use to control. But again, when you're aware and you see certain things, okay, now they you know, shadow government individuals that be, they can see where you at based upon what you're aware of. They start to gauge, okay, you're invited, you're not invited, you know what I'm saying, based upon your awareness, you know, based upon how you acting, what you say, and what you do. So, you know, initiated through their bull stuff, you know what I'm saying, all their stuff. But that's a, you know what I'm saying, but at the same time, point is, when you understand everything in this world is just in plain sight, then, you know, you can kind of remove some of the anxiety and thinking that you don't quite know. You know, just slow down and pay attention. That's really all you got to do, and everything you need to know is right in front of you. So and again, what's not in front of you, everything you need to know about this world is right in front of you. But, you know, knowing yourself is an internal thing. So it's like, whenever, you know, don't be worried about the external, because the external, again, everything in this external world is laid out. If you understand what it's saying, then you understand how to play them. But the real, you know, what you really need to get to know is just what's inside you. And then at that point, you can have more confidence, because if you know yourself, you know, no matter what I go through, I'ma still be me, and I can pull through. You start to gain confidence by doing small things in your own life that show that you believing in yourself, going through an experience and coming out of, okay, whew. You do that enough times, you start to get the hang of it, and you just remind yourself that that's what you're doing, and it'll add to your confidence, so that when you come into things again in the real world and you participating, you already did the hard part, which is the shadow work, dealing with yourself, dealing with that keep you from being great. Once you deal with that shit, then boom, you just in the world. And it's just a matter of reading rules and understanding how laws work and shit, which sounds daunting, but when again, like I said, they made this world for dummies. It's all out there as far as information you need to get or people you need to talk to, you know, but then you have to apply it, you have to do it, you know. But a lot of times, like, even things like, when you really think about it, making money is not hard, but it clicks. And once it clicks, you got it. But before it clicked, you trying to figure it out, and it seemed like the hardest thing to do. But everybody will tell you, when they start making money, they found what clicked. To that click, they started stacking, they started flowing, they started figuring out the relationship you build with it. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing, you know what I'm saying? Another stream and shit like that. But yeah, so Moon and Sagittarius, we talked about the square. Let's talk about in conjunct your understanding, basically how to feel about our individuality in a sense, or how to feel about maybe our individual morals. Maybe our morals conflict with how we are trying to gain stability. So we might be moving off an outdated moral system, reason why we can't be ourselves or be unique enough to gain any, you know, stability or security, financial gain, and things like that. So I'm gonna re-examine those types of things. And I think I was even making that point with Neptune, in the square in Neptune being in retrograde, and everybody's belief system being completely, you know, called to re-examine basically this belief system and see if it's actually what it's supposed to be. And we're seeing ways in which our old belief system or this belief system in past situations either worked for us or didn't. And so, you know, a lot of things might call your attention back to your spiritual practices. So again, you can be going through a lot of different experiences that's causing you to have faith or certain things. And remember what I was saying about faith, where, you know, faith is more so your faith is man, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, anyway. Faith is your, you know, trusting oneself to be able to you know, it's like you're trusting oneself to be able to produce that result. So it's really coming from your trust in you. And part of that trust in you is being able to, you know, commit and be disciplined when it comes to that routine pattern and all those different things. So it's like it's very on you right now. But don't, you know, right now, don't be afraid if it seems like what you used to believe in or have faith in is being called to question. You know, it's about choosing choice. And you can either choose to work through it. But see, it's almost like life is going to show you. All you can do is work on what's real. All you can do is do what's, you know, what you get to do. Be of service and do your responsibilities. But the routines and patterns we set up for ourselves are here to test us. You know, it's almost like you're going through that work and doing that work. You know, let that be the testament of faith. Don't let, you know, you having faith where it's like, I'm just going to choose my faith and not believe I have to do the necessary. It's like, don't go off of blind faith, and don't convince yourself to not go through with something because you don't believe it to be possible. You know what I'm saying? Don't restrict yourself based upon when it's possible because somebody around you said that, or even if you're going through a certain circumstance that's making it harder to do that. You got to say, man, fuck all that. If I'm going to commit to this, if I commit to this, get through. You know, it's almost like it's crazy because people will understand that but still choose to not give that energy to the things that they want to work out in their life. It's like it's all a, you know, a choice with it. You know, if you choose to make something work out, it'll work out. Even if it don't work out the way you wanted it to, whatever you get from it is going to be beneficial in some way to lead you on the next thing for you to invest in or be interested in or move towards. You know, sometimes people forget that and they'll just want to be negative about things, and it's like, no, anything in your life you could look at and work. If you just choose to believe it could possibly work. It's about the possibility of a thing, not so much the you know what I'm saying, the results come after. That's what we always got to remember about the relationship between Mercury and Jupiter, the after the experience. So, you know, we need to lead with faith, to lead with a belief in something in order to commit to the work, to get the result, to see if it was worth it or not, or if it was worth it. But the result to show you, yeah, kind of like if it was worth it or if it was actually that. You know, so again, the human condition, everybody want to be on the Mercury in first because we want to see how much we can get from it if it does. So we don't believe in anything we can't calculate working for us, which, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know, everybody want to make, you know, on a positive end, it's a calculated risk, but on a negative end, you put yourself in a weird situation where you can talk your own demise. You didn't even give yourself a chance for it to work out. You didn't even give yourself a chance to trust it. You already shut it down from the beginning based upon what you thought you knew about it, when you really ain't know nothing because you didn't experience it. You looking at it and judged it. You know what I'm saying? Experiences come first, and then after you can see the result to see what it really was. You know. But again, everybody live. Now when it comes to the moon in Sag, let's see what else. We talked about Aries, Pisces, Gemini. No, we didn't talk. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Gemini. We did actually. Let's see. In conjunct in Cancer. So moon in conjunct Mars, understanding how to feel about passions. Again, we still, passions are in a place where we have to care for it. We can't just be, it's like the right things to fight for, you know, care about the right, what is it? It's almost like a protection in a sense. It's like, don't be doing Mars stuff right now out of insecurity. Do it for the, you know, something you care about that's worth fighting for. we might, again, we misunderstand how to feel about passions or what the right thing to be passionate about is. So in order to know that, we have to, it's kind of like, it's very much dependent on moon and Sag, like what you, it's almost like your own morality or what you know to be. I don't want to say your own sense of right or wrong, but you know, you're moving, you're making decisions based upon, like, because again, this is getting hit with the Virgo energy too. So it's like Virgo is sextile in Mars. So it's almost like if we care about it, we're willing to do the work to build on it. You know what I'm saying? This dude on some weird stuff, man. Get the fuck out the chat talking about this stuff. Shit. Nobody care about that stuff. But when we think about it like that, sextile that the sun is making with Mars, it's an opportunity in that space. You know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity in that space to be able to work on what we care about, and those cares being passionate, you know, but that passion needs to be tempered down. That passion needs to be, you know, directed in the right space where it can stew and kind of build up and be something that we turn into a dream, or something that we can, you know, start to explore the potential of being connected to it. Then on the other end, the in conjunction is making with the moon. It's just the moon not understanding how to deal with it. So based upon our experiences or what we feel to be right or wrong, we might not know where to quite do with our passions. But really, we don't need to do anything with our passions at the moment. Passions need to be just cared for and tended to based upon what we know is our responsibility to keep on a routine and pattern. If anything, passions, whatever we're passionate about, just needs consistently like worked with, you know, through the sun and even Mercury. Mercury sextile in Mars is a form of that similar thing, where Mercury, like the opportunity to think out what's necessary or the best choice or best things for our passions based upon us caring about it. Mercury is back where it loves to be. So Mercury is in a space where we again, on the negative end, we can do a lot of overthinking, but on the positive end, in a place where it's about to get back to, you know, it's going to reach the end of that shadow period. So it's going to feel like, okay, we can think forward again. We can think clearly now about what we actually want to do. So we can revisit those ideas that we put on pause, and we can get things, communication back rolling in full effect. And it's going to kind of feel like, you know, you took a good break and now you back in the office and you ready to get to work. So it's going to feel refreshed a little bit. And Mercury, again, Mercury does in Virgo because it knows how to analyze and actually, you know, look at the details and criticize without having to be too heavy, you know, not too much water, not too much any of that. So, you know, Mercury would be in a space where we can kind of have a full mental capacity to go on track with what we need to do as a responsibility and as a pattern. But yeah, the moon in conjunction Mars at the moment, we just misunderstand. And again, it's a feeling that could pass, you know, that will pass. So what we feel towards our passions and not quite knowing their place in the whole mix, it's not necessarily what we need to be concerned about right now. What's way more important is just making sure we show up for what we need to get done as a responsibility. About Virgo, Venus. So it's not making, yeah, because it's in Sag. So it's sextile in Venus. Venus is in Libra. So that's an opportunity to feel more connected to what we're relating to. So this is kind of vibes of good conversation based upon what we want to expand about. Or again, opportunities to feel more comfortable with escapism. So try not to just go along with whatever feels good, or that, you know, on some level, on the other end of things, the more positive end, it's more so you expanding things, but you also have an opportunity to feel like you have some connection to the things you appreciate and value. It's almost like being able to use it because it's your energy. So it's like, you know where to give support, and you're wise enough to distribute wisdom and support in a way that looks like, oh, okay, damn, you know, this person's being generous, versus kind of being in the space where you feel like you gotta do it on the pleasures based upon you not wanting to face what you know is a responsibility. But hopefully it's just an overall more wise approach to it, you know, and that approach that leads you to being like, okay, let me not overindulge when I don't need to. This is also like that pleasant energy, really good for going out and stuff like that, kicking it with people, doing events, people, creative projects, projects that involve conversation and collaborating about, you know, also charisma, character, and talk shows and stuff like that. Good time for podcasts and stuff. Let me see, Libra. Then we go to Scorpio. Then we go to Sag. Then we got Capricorn. We got Pluto in Capricorn. It's not really making no direct effect. Maybe a slight it's 69 degrees Capricorn. So not really. Not really important to note. And then we got what? Aquarius, and then we got Pisces. So yeah, that's about everything. One thing about the moon sliding into Capricorn. So again, what we decide to do today, you know, it affects tomorrow. Always. It's like, you know, everything is a progression. So, you know, for the most part though, when it comes to the moon and Sag, it's about, you know, understanding that, you know, to a degree, discipline is a pathway to freedom. You know what I'm saying? Free doesn't have to, like, a lot of times people who escape the responsibilities they got to do, they put themselves in a place where they have to be in prison. They have to be, you know, they have to be restricted later on. Like I was saying in the other life, you either pick the struggle now or you pick it later. So the people who go through the work first, you know, do it early, these people create freedom for themselves later on. So, you know, you just got to have the right perspective about what needs to be done right now, and be, you know, sober-minded in the sense of just willing to just handle it. Look, these are the facts. This is what I got to get straight. And until I get these things straight, we can't get to the next step, which is a lot more. It feels harsh for Sag, but it's going to feel a lot better when the moon slides into Capricorn, because that becomes the trine, and these are the energies that look like a more mature, higher octave version of Sag to a satisfied or easygoing Capricorn transit. You know what I'm saying? And everything being progression, it's just like the type of shit you need to be aware of. If you're riding a wave, you'll start to see how signs that's right next to each other share a lot in common in the sense of that transition. And going from one to another is a lot more comfortable than trying to do lower octave energies of this one, because you'll see the lower octave energies of a sign are always going to conflict with the necessary changes needed to be made into the next sign. So again, in Sag, if I'm too escapist and over the place, I don't have a seat at the throne. I don't have an ownership of nothing. I don't have a position as a boss. I've let all those responsibilities go. Therefore, I play the role of having nothing, struggling, working to get back to the climbing the corporate ladder, building from nothing, you know what I'm saying, type shit. They said discipline leading to freedom, like Cap going into Aqua. Exactly. Tried to free. You're right. Read. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That's and like I said, bro, like lower octave of Cap. You know what I'm saying? You being hella negative and you know, not taking your responsibilities, you know, real and shit like that. That leads to I'm in Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius being all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius not, you know, not having the connection, the network and stuff like that, because you didn't play that role as a boss. You didn't take this, you know, you didn't take yourself seriously. Joking Capricorn, boom. Okay, now all of a sudden you have no real connections, no real, you know, no community and shit like that. So, you know, all those different things play out. Like everything is crazy. Y'all know how I go. Y'all know how I go. But yeah, that's how it is with Cap. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, keep that in mind. The moon slide Capricorn, what you do now, it can lead you to having a cool little transit, and that Cap is going to lead you to a situation where we hit the areas. And on the positive end, if you do what you're supposed to do in Cap, aka you know, take responsibility now. You know, you allowed yourself to expand. Now you can handle more. Okay, handle more. You know, you can see more, you can hold more, handle more. As you get a grip on that and you take it more seriously, and you get a lot more discipline with your resource in that manner, right? It's going to turn into a Aquarius season, Aquarius moon during this waxing phase, which you having the right network to involve with that going to almost be like a network you can be of service to. So like, remember, because it's Virgo energy, so a network you can be of service to. And again, to dream work. So as that network starts to, you able to work and be of service to them, and it's a good reciprocity, it turns into a full moon in Pisces. All of a sudden, it looks a little bit more real. Whatever you've been working on, the result is a lot more tangible. it's a lot more satisfactory to sit with something that you could say is a result that's leading to that dream being real, enough for you to affirm yourself in that reality and say, okay, this is worth fighting for. This is worth living in. This is a dream worth working towards. I don't gotta escape nothing. It's looking like it's coming true. Versus you the results you got look like rubbish. So in Capricorn, you didn't put yourself in no position. You didn't obtain those resources. You didn't go through the proper transformation to make you more serious and prepared. You escaped it. Turns into Aquarius, like I said, no network, no nothing. It's almost like, yeah, there might be people you associate with, but in favor you try to work with them, they ain't got no time for you because you've proven yourself to not be present. You know, you're proving yourself to not be reliable. It's like you're not even you're not an asset. You're more of a liability based upon how you deal with yourself. People can read that energy. Some people might still mess with you because they can't tell or they just feel sorry for you. But at the same time, even when those opportunities arise, you might make the misstep based upon what you didn't prepare yourself to move. You might make a misstep, a mistake, and instead of getting grace for that mistake, because at least you did the majority of the job right, you make a certain mistake that it's like they took a chance on you and you let them down. Now you feel crazy, you feel guilty, you feel ashamed. You might lash out on them. Again, full moon energy that looked catastrophic. And now all of a sudden you in this delusion where everything you thought you was building ain't real. So of course you're gonna want to escape because you can't handle the reality. And again, that's why I said check on your friends, check on your Poseidon friends, check on all your friends, because that right there is that recipe that make a person say, I don't think I want to live this life no more. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate. You know, it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's like that heaviness, you know, that cycle, that perpetual energy. It starts small. It'd be the small stuff that nobody knows that really be what people walk around with rain clouds over their head about. You know what I'm saying? That's why, again, we got to be like, this world is the way it is. But for the people we connected to, the networks, the associates we know, we do got to be, you know, that's why I said like community type stuff is so important, because, you know, we need people around us who can speak life into each other. You know what I'm saying? We really need a world, but that's, you know, again, the world we live in is littered with a lot of people with a lot of pain. So it's hard to expect that from the world, and being too much like that can some damage on your part that you ain't got to go through. But that's where community thrives, because community is that pocket in between the world, but it's a world we created based upon like-minded connections, feelings, thoughts, and ideas put in that. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but that is a form of changing the world too, because the more that expands, it's influence. You know what I'm saying? So we have to think in terms of that. We got to be, you know, that's being a reference. That's how you change shit. It's in that way, you know, still connected, still present. You know what I'm saying? Again, not no fairy tale pop culture spirituality practicing where it's some weird shit. We got to go all the way to this island and then everybody got to be indigenous and shit like that. Calm down. You know, this is actual stuff we can do in real life. And we know, like, a lot of what's going on in general, the times we in, what they call the loneliness epidemic and all this stuff, is really just people not knowing how to ask for help. That's what I see. I see in this time, nobody knows how to ask for help, who help, and, you know, the things that kind of made it easier to do that was community, having people, you know, community, being connected with others, was doing on the same type of time as you. You know what I'm saying? He said, you damn right I cry in this car. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's real shit, you know? But, you know, you said that like it was an insult. Like, what, you afraid to cry? Crazy. You know what I'm saying? Probably why you, I don't know, probably why you found the channel and shit. He said, said nobody does it better. But, yeah, when it comes to, yeah, the times we in, like I said, you said also there aren't enough spaces, people safe, and we got to create more safe spaces for one another. Right. I agree. You know what I'm saying? I agree. You know, so people can't, yeah, like, and again, people don't feel safe because it's just like, again, the disconnect in the world. Like, all that shit just comes from the energy that everybody was placed in, and being in, again, nobody know how to relate, know how to connect. Nobody, it's like, yeah. So that's a lot of what's being worked on behind the scenes and stuff like that. That's what we creating over here on this side. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of that, spaces, make sure y'all sign for the women's Each One Teach One class that's coming in on October 21st. I want to say, like, you know what I'm saying? I've been saying it. I think that's the right date, October 21st. And y'all can hit 717conference.info@gmail.com for more information. The sign up is up. If you go on Jackie New page, her Instagram page, on free page, if you go on the Hanged Empress's page, on Shine in the Darkness page, if you go on Jade Iman's page, or if you go on Jess's page, their Stargirl's page, there should be a link in their bio, as well as the 716 page. There's a link in that bio, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the description. So if y'all trying to sign up for that, y'all can see that, get that info, and y'all be cool. Cause yeah, you know, that's what we on right now. It's building those spaces where we can connect again, and we can, you know, again, advocate for just being ourselves and continue to grow this type of info. But not too much of that, you know what I'm saying? Not too much of that on live. We doing events and stuff. So y'all get y'all situations prepared now, because come the spring, you know what I'm saying, we kicking off with another season of the subcon pop-up. We got the 717 conference again coming next year. So again, big things going on, even more things outside of that. You know, we just taking it one step at a time, because especially right now, every step counts. Every step matters. So even with things y'all got going on in your own life, make sure you just taking the time to take the step. Again, you might try to think you rushing there, but you ain't getting nowhere fast. Like this shit is eternal, you know. So take one step at a time, but don't waste life. Life is, it's a lot. It's a gift here, you know, this physical world and shit like that. The pain, it get on our nerves and stuff, you know, it's still a gift. But anyway, much love. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.